Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are doing something different. Okay, this is the first Python beginner project video. We are going to try and code a beginner level project in Python, which requires like the basic understanding of the basic concepts in Python. So if you know them, or even if you don't, this is just going to increase your practical knowledge. Okay. Plus we are going to code this right here, so like right now, and so you'll be understanding each line of the code. But before going like to the editor and writing the code, let's just see what the end product is gonna be. Okay, so let's just see that. So this is a basic console application or game that is guess the number. Console application in the sense this is going to run in the command prompt. Okay, I'm assuming that you know what a command prompt is. It's just where the entered commands are executed. So right now I am in my directory where my .py and my Python file is saved. Okay. So now I have to type a command in this command prompt, and it will execute it. Right. So I'll ask it to run my Python file. That is, I'll just say the name of my Python file. That is guess the number.py. I'm gonna press enter and see. This is my game. Now this is just a bunch of. I'll explain the game here. Okay, these are just bunch of print statements, to make this seem like this is a serious game, and during this the computer is choosing a number randomly from 1 to 30. Right, the computer is choosing a number for you to guess, that is from 1 to 30, and it is giving us 5 chances to guess it right. Now this is my first try. Okay, so in the first try I'm just gonna try and guess. Okay, I'm guessing 4. Okay, so if this is wrong, they're gonna ask me that if I want a clue or not. I'm gonna say, okay, yes, I want a clue. Okay. Now they're gonna give me options. Like they're gonna give me a choice to choose one of the clues. Now there are 3 clues here. Direction to move, multiples of the number, and divisors of the number. Direction to move in the sense depending upon my previous guess number. Like I guessed 4. This will tell me should I go up in the number line or should I go in the down, so that I'm more closer to the chosen number, you know. So okay, I'll choose 1. I want the direction to move, and it's telling me to move up. Okay, so this is my try to, and I'll say okay 4. So they want me to go up. I'll go 10 maybe. Okay, it's wrong again. They're not asking me for a clue again. I'm gonna say yes. Okay, I want a clue. Now, multiples of a number. There are multiples of a number and divisors of a number. So obviously, multiple of a number is going to give me uh, 9 multiples of the chosen number. And then we are supposed to guess the number. Or at least, it is supposed to give us a clue as in what a number could be. Then divisors of a number, we print the divisors of the chosen number, in the same way. Now, okay, fine. Let's just choose I want divisors of a number. Okay, 1, 3, and 5. Now, 5 is one of the divisors. I'm guessing it's a multiple of 5. I see a 3 also. Okay. So maybe it's 15. I'll guess 15. Yes, the number is correctly guessed and I win. Similarly, if would have chosen multiples of a number, that could have given me the multiples of a number, and then I would have guessed it. Or if even if I couldn't have, it should have given me a clue like, okay, this could be a number, or this is also a possibility, like that. So yeah, that is what this game is, and let's start coding our project. So let's go to our editor. See you there. Okay, so we are in the editor. Let's start coding our project. So the major part of the game is to make computer randomly choose a number between 1 and 30. Right? So for this we are going to use randint function as in to generate a random integer between a said range. The function is in the module named random. So we have to import it in our file. So for that, we're obviously going to use import statement. So I'll just say from random import randint, right? So this will just ask the Python to import the randint function, which is in a module named random, right? So module is basically a Python file, a .py file, which contains executable statements as well as function definitions. So likewise, there's this random.py file, and it has a function called randint defined in it. And we're importing it in our module, in our .py file, so that we can use it in our program, right? So this is just basically how this import system briefly works. And yes, so about this random function returns an integer between a set range, that is between A and B, includes including A and B. I'll just say that okay, we're asking it to return a random number between 1 and 30, including 1 and 30, and we will store it in N. So we don't know what this number is, okay? We just know that whatever it is stored in N. Okay. Okay, so the first part of the game is done, where the computer is to choose a number is done. And now the other is where the user has to guess it. And we have decided that we are going to give 5 chances to the user. So I'm going to have to use a for loop here because you have to do something multiple times, 5 times. So a foreign loop is best for this. So I'm just going to say for z in range 1 comma 6. Okay. So here for loop is used to iterate over a range. Okay, this range function is going to return a sequence of numbers between 1 and 5. Between 1 and 5. 1 is included, 6 is not included in the sequence of numbers. Okay, so Z is going to iterate over this sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Z is taking values from 1 to 5 in each loop. So for the first iteration, Z will be 1, and then the for block will be executed, and again it goes up, Z is 2, and again the for block will be executed, and Z is 3, and so on, and this will go on until Z is 5, and then it will execute the for block for one last time, and then it lives, and then it comes out of the for block and executes the later statements. Okay. Okay, so inside this, what do we want to do 5 times? That will go inside this for block. So first is we want to ask the user to guess the number. That is the major thing. So we want the user input, right? We want user to input something so that we can store it. So for that, I'll use a user input method. Just bear with me for this once again. I'll explain what am I doing. I'll just say guess the number. Okay, fine. So this input method reads the user input and then converts it to string and then returns us. This is just an optional argument it takes. This is a prompt that we are giving user so that user knows what to enter exactly. So if even if the user enters a number, this input method is going to convert it into a string and then return it. Okay, but we want an integer because we want to compare this with n, and n is definitely an integer because random function returns a random integer. Okay, so whatever this input function will return, I'm going to convert it into an integer using this int method. Okay, and then I'll store it in user input so that we can further compare it. Okay, now further we have two possibilities. The user might have guessed it right or it could be wrong. Okay, so depending upon these two conditions, there are just two possibilities. We want Python to give two different results. So basically we are changing the flow of the program, and therefore we are going to use Ifelse statement here. It's one of the conditional statement. So if the user input is equal to n, I'm going to print number guessed correctly, and I'll just get out of the loop. Okay, break keyword is used here when we explicitly want to get out of the loop. Once the user has guessed it right, they don't need the remaining chances, right? So we get out of the loop using this break keyword. Now if the user didn't guess it right, we are into the else block. I'm just going to print wrong. Okay, so we decided that if the user is wrong, then we will give them 3 clues and they will get to choose which one they want. So for that, I first have to check if this was their last chance. So I'm just gonna ask if z is equal to 5, then I'm just going to tell them that no more chances left. No more chances of left for you. Game is over for you. And then I'm just going to reveal what the chosen computer number was, and then I'll break. That is, I'll get out of the loop. Okay. So, because if this is their last chance, then I don't have to give them any clues for their next chance because they don't even have one, right? So else, if this was not their last chance, then I'm going to give them an option. Do you want a clue or not? Okay. So again, I need user input. So I'm going to use input method. I'm going to ask them, do you want a clue for your next try? So type capital Y or small y for yes, or else you can just press enter and continue with your game. That is, I won't give you a clue if you press just enter without typing a Y. Okay. So if they do want a clue, I'm going to check that also. If option is equal to Y, now they could have entered capital Y also. So I'm going to use an OR operator here. This is a logical operator. Because of this, the if block will be executed if either of these statements is true or if both of these statements is true. The only, now that won't be possible because user is only going to enter once, but the only condition when the if block won't be executed is when both of these conditions are wrong. So what do I want to do if user enters y? That is, they want a clue, so I'm just going to give them a list of clues, and then I'm going to ask them to enter their choice. Okay, so I've given them the list of clues. I've said 1 is direction to move, 2 is multiples of the numbers, 3 is divisors of the number. Now you enter your choice. You either print 1, 2, you enter 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so again, I want user input, so I'm going to use input method. I'm giving them the prompt to enter their choice. It's going to be a string, so I need to convert it into an integer, and I've stored it in the variable named choice. Okay, now after this, there are multiple possibilities. There aren't just two possibilities. The user could have entered 1, they could have entered 2, they could have entered 3, or they could have entered something completely different number. We don't even know. So if else statement won't work here, we need an if else if statements. Okay, so I'm just gonna check if choice is equal to 1. That is, if they have chosen direction to move. So I'm just going to call this direction to move function, and I'm going to give pass in a parameter user input to it. Else if is basically elif here. If choice is 2, we can put multiple elif conditions here inside this. If choice is 1, else if choice is 2, else if choice is 3, else if choice is 4, but now we just have 2 and 3. So if choice is 2, then I'll call a function called multiple. We haven't defined this function yet, but we are calling them. We'll define them later. If elif choice is 3, I will call a divisor method function. And if none of these conditions is true, the control is given to the else block. And I'll just tell them that invalid choice. Okay. Now notice that this is a nested if else. The indentation, man, it's so necessary. This is supposed to be here along with the sequence. This is an indentation is very important in Python. So this is a nested if else statement. We are yet to address this else block of this if statement. So I'm going to say, like, if you don't want a clue, then Let's print that. Okay, fine. Here's your next chance. Okay, everything is properly indented. Cool. So the basic flow of the program is done. The only thing remaining is we have to define these functions which we have called. We'll define it up here because you have to define a function and then you can call them. So I'll define them up here. So first we want to give user direction to move depending upon their last guessed number. Okay. So to define a function, we use def keyword along with the name of the function, which was what direction to move. And we are also giving a parameter, user input to it. And we need a block. So this is our function block. Okay, so we want to give user direction to move depending upon their last guess number. So the previous guess number is a new user input, right? So we'll have to compare it with n. So if n is greater than user input, I'll have to say move up. Else, move down. Okay, that's it. A very simple function. Now, next we want to provide the multiples of the chosen number. You know what multiples are, right? Multiples are found by multiplying the number by any integer. So again, I'll tell you. So again, I'll define a function. Okay, I'll tell them that these are the multiples, following are the multiples, and so multiples are basically, for example, if you find multiples, if you want to find multiples of 3, you multiply 3 by 1, then by 2 by 3. So this 3, 6, 9 are multiples of 3. Okay, we get multiples by multiplying the number by any integer. Okay, so we are again going to use a for loop here for I in range 2 to 10. Sorry, 2. We are going to avoid 1 and you'll see why I'm avoiding 1. So inside this for block, I will print I multiplied by n and I'm going to pass an argument to this n parameter, that is the space, because I don't want all these numbers to be on a separate lines, I want them on the same line with space in between them. I've explained the print function in detail along with the end and set parameters of this print function. You can check it out. I'll leave the link to the function up here somewhere. It's coming. So in the for block I've printed I into n. This will give me multiple of n because I is definitely an integer, because range function returns a sequence of numbers, a sequence of integers. Okay, so, and I is going to iterate over this sequence. So like I would be 2, I would be 3, I would be 4, I would be 5, such I would till I would be 9. Okay, and such we are going to get 9 multiples. Right, so now you see why I have avoided 1 here, because 1 would have given away our chosen number. Because number times 1 is the number itself, so we can't do that. So yeah, this completes our multiple function. Next, we want to print divisors of the chosen number. We'll again define a function. Again, in the function block, I'll tell them that these are the divisors of the number. So divisors of a number are numbers which divides their integer completely, like with no remainder. So every number has at least 2 divisors, that is 1 and the number itself. And the divisors exist between this range. 1 and the number itself. If it's a prime number that has only two divisors, that is 1 and the number itself. So again, I want to avoid printing the number itself as one of the divisors, so I'm going to use range this. Tell you for I in range 1 and okay. So this will return a sequence of n to n minus 1, right? And further in every iteration, I want to check if n when divided by I gives 0 as a remainder. And I can do that using the modulus operator, which gives us a remainder of the division, right? This is a modulus operator here. And if it is, it is completely divisible and it gives 0 as a remainder, then that just means that I is one of the divisor and we'll just print it, just like we printed in the multiples. So I'll print I, and again I'm going to give argument to this n parameter, just a space in between. And again I'll just print a line break here so that it looks beautiful, doesn't look ugly, right? So that's all. That's our divisor function. Very simple functions. We just need to know the basic idea, like what do we want to do. And yeah, there you go. So the game is almost completed. Now I just want to include those bunch of print statements, so that it looks like a serious game. I'll show you what print statements. The one saying that computer game is initialized, the computer is choosing a number for you to guess. So number is between 1 and 30. And this is just gonna print dash 50 times. It just looks decent. That's why. Nothing else. Okay, so the game is almost complete. Although a small thing here with something. Yeah, I can concatenate a string with an integer, n is an integer here, right? And this is a string. We learned about concatenation. We can concatenate two strings. So and to convert this into a string, we'll use string method, okay? And I'll convert it. And then I'll concatenate it. So this could happen. Also, I want to tell them the number of try. So I'll tell them that so I'll print try. So this will tell them that, okay, this is your first try, this is your second try, this is your third try. It's very much elegant to look. Okay. So this is our guess the number.py file. I've saved it. I'll go to my command prompt and I'll run it. See you there. Okay, let's try and run it. So name of our program was guess the number. Okay, we're running it. Okay, try one. Something went wrong here. Yes. I'll say two. Wrong. Do you want to? Okay, fine. I want direction to move. It says me to move up. I'll tell 30. No, I don't want a clue. Okay, fine. So they tell me that, okay, fine. You don't want a clue. Here's your next chance. This is your try three. I'll say 23. Okay, fine. Now I want a clue because now I'm very stressed. I have not guessed number and this is my try three. Okay, fine. These are the multiples. Okay, fine. It kind of seems like the last number is 7. So, 34 is one of the multiple. Just try 7. Yes, number correctly guessed. I win. And that's it. Okay, guys. So there goes our game. Guess the number. And that's it for this video. If you liked it or if it helped you in any way, give me a like. Don't forget to press the subscribe button for more such videos. Until then, take care. See you soon. Bye bye.